Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey. Hey, hey. Hey, y'all. I am back. This is my first podcast that I'm recording in a long time, and I was a little rusty and dusty. I felt like a beginner, which was kind of a cool feeling. Hope y'all been good. What y'all been up to? How you been? Hope you've been good. Okay. So today I've been wanting to do this podcast for a minute because this is something that affects so many of us in midlife, and that is friend breakups. Okay. So I had to make sure I was recording because I have been known to do a whole podcast and not record. Okay, anyway, so friend breakups, they suck, don't they? I recently had a friend breakup. I did. I had to realize this woman who had been in my life for many, many years, she just didn't want to accept me the way I was. And I ain't changing, and she didn't have to change. I just realized that it was probably time to put a little bit of a pause button on that friendship. And there was no big discussion. There had been discussions prior to ways that I felt like I had been treated. I wasn't a victim. She wasn't a perpetrator. But I just realized it wasn't the friendship for me. Now, I will say love can be a revolving door. Notice I said can. There have been times where there have been friends who we kind of drifted apart and we drifted back together. So it's a possibility. But I have another friend who felt some kind of way about it. And I just had to let them know that, like, it's okay. This is something I say to people. Not everybody means you well. They can't. They feel bad about it sometimes they don't, but some people you're going to trigger. Sometimes they see the things you have and they want what you have. Sometimes they see the things that you have and they don't agree with it. Sometimes you just ain't they people, okay? It is okay. So we're going to talk about friend breakups today because I hear a lot about this from clients and other folks. Just remember, if you're having a friend breakup and it's intense, a life coach can help you get through it. And don't think, sometimes we think there are certain things that are frivolous that we shouldn't go to a life coach for. But remember, a life coach can help you through any life transition, and a big friend breakup, that can be a huge life transition. Okay. So let's talk about it. We know about relationship breakups and they suck. So occasionally we break up with someone and we're excited. We want to be set free. But I think one of the things that we do that can be counterproductive is when we're having an issue with a friend, we want to talk to all our friends about it. And I want you to just, next time you're having a thing with a friend, maybe you talk to a person, you definitely talk to yourself, but talking to all your friends and spelling it out, it's just going to keep you in the intensity of what happened. Now, what I do suggest, and towards the end of the podcast, I'm going to give you some real concrete suggestions of what to do, is you kind of check it in with yourself to see how you feel. And listen, friend breakups can happen over big life events. Sometimes a person has a baby or adopts a kid and a friend stops interacting with them, and it's painful. Sometimes a person just decides that they don't want to be your friend. But I will say this, we get this idea of that pain just happens to us. But when someone is ending a relationship, it's highly likely that they are experiencing pain as well. Maybe there is the pain of being in the relationship. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, that you should even feel guilty about it. But there are times in our lives, I want you to think, be honest, right? You have had a friend, you have had a friend who's triggered you. Maybe you worried about the friend, or maybe you felt like the friend's life is going so well. And depending on where you are in your life, your reaction can be some kind of way. But I just want to make sure you know that they can be going through pain too. It's not like they, are ending the relationship and they're out tap dancing and going to the club. No, there is likely pain on their side as well. Okay. Another thing is that sometimes we have a tendency to people please when it comes to our friends, right? If they like the things, sometimes we like the things. If they're mad at the person, sometimes we feel like we have to be mad at the person, right? You may want to, this may actually be a way, and one of my points, one of my notes, I said, don't necessarily try to prevent a friend breakup, because sometimes the natural course of a relationship is the ending. And by the way, the ending does not mean that the relationship was not successful. Relationships end, and sometimes we have to realize there was so much good in the relationship. There was so much success. Y'all know the adage, sometimes they're for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? And if we think about our friends who are the easiest to be with, they let you be crazy. They let you be excited. They let you be exactly who you are, and they accept you. It's probably likely that they do the same thing for themselves. Most of the time when we have close friends, there is a similar energy. Okay. So y'all, I had a point. I forgot it. It was something we're gonna try to see if I can find it. Okay. It's always good to do a reality check. I read a book, I think it was Rachel Rogers, We All Should Be Millionaires, where she mentioned that one of her clients kind of does a friend inventory every year to kind of see like who she feels like works in her life and who may not. Now, I don't quite do that. I have like kind of circles of friends, right? I have the disciples, like the homies, the really close team. Then I have a circle outside of that who are very close, lots of love. We may not talk as much. And the circles go on and on and on to like acquaintances or Facebook friends or people you went to school with, right? If you see each other at the grocery store, you usually are excited. But it's not bad to do a reality check, to especially if a difficult situation keeps coming up. Now, we can have conversations with that person, but I always go into a conversation having already thought through how I feel about it, what I think about it, with openness to the other point of view for sure. But if it becomes a blame, shame session, then I can nicely see my way out by saying, and this has happened before when there was an argument that was escalating. And I was like, I just don't think we're going to get to anywhere that we both want to be right now. So why don't we step back and revisit this? And, could even ask, when would you like to revisit it? They may be too activated to do that. You may be too activated, but it's okay to throw up the flag and be like, yeah, it's time to have a little bit of a step back on this. Okay. The other thing is that no one has to be the big bad wolf. No one has to be the bad person, the bad guy. Sometimes there's a mutuality in a friendship ending. Sometimes we don't have as much in common, or we realize that things aren't as, there was like a big one is when we change, sometimes the people around us can't adapt to that change. But don't you think that other friends aren't coming in? Remember, we do not live in scarcity. We live in abundance. My feeling is when I lose a friend, I'm going to get me some more friends. Okay. And it's okay if someone doesn't see how awesome you are and how amazing you are, especially if you hold that energy for yourself. One of the reasons why we hate losing friends is because we have this belief that making friends is very, very difficult. And towards the end of the podcast, I'm going to give you some suggestions for making new friends that feels easier. Okay. I didn't say easy. I said easier. All right. Life is busy. One of my close friends has younger kids than I do. Okay. And while she was doing the brownies and the soccer, I did that 8, 9 years ago. And so while we care about each other, one time I know I said to her, "Hey, I don't prefer text. I prefer phone calls." And she was like, "I don't prefer phone calls. I prefer text." So we do a little bit of a every other month phone call and a little bit of a text. She doesn't change. I don't have to change. We can kind of compromise a little bit. But in the situation, we make special time to get together. And sometimes it is more like, this whole thing of equality, I think is bullshit in friendships. The equity is when I'm more busy, she's more likely to say, "Hey, let's do this." And when she's more busy, I'm more likely to say, "Let's do this." So another thing is kind of letting go. Equity is not equality. Equality is if you do this, then I have to do the same reciprocal action. No, equity is wherever the person is, they show up how they show up. And then wherever the other person is, they show up how they show up. Okay. So it's like, y'all seen the picture of the people at I'm going to say at the fence, and they're all trying to look over the fence. And equity isn't that they all get 2 steps. One of the people is shorter. So to be the same height, they had to get 4 steps. One of them is taller. They didn't need steps at all. The other one just needed 2 steps. You understand what I'm saying? Where like equity is for us to get to the same level. Sometimes someone puts in more, or sometimes someone puts in less. But at the end of the day, we have a feeling of like consensus. Okay. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The little children, the children who are standing at the fence and I don't know, the guy. Okay. Maybe I only know what that is. All right. I don't want you to panic. When something goes wrong with a friend, it does not always mean friend breakup. I don't want you to panic, but I do want you to figure out what's coming up. And I want you to be honest enough to say, like, in some of my relationships, I have felt that people were trying to please me instead of being authentic. And I have gently said, "Hey, what do you really feel about this?" Like, not what's the right answer. I didn't say, "Hey, you people pleasing bitch, stop doing it." I said, "Listen, what's the right answer for you? Not what everybody thinks." And there's a sense of relief, right? When we care about people, we want to get it right, but sometimes that puts so much pressure on the friendship. So one of the things I want you to ask yourself is, how can I be showing up more authentically as myself in my relationships? And I don't talk to all my friends about all the things that are going in my life. I know there's some friends for certain situations, and there's some friends for other situations. And I choose wisely. Now, if something is really, really bugging me, I take it to the journal. I walk around my neighborhood and I talk out loud. I'm my friend. I am my friend. I recently went to New York. It was kind of an impromptu trip, and I'm going to do a whole episode on this. I always say that. This kind of recharge resting versus recharge. I'm not going to get into that deeply, but the New York trip for me was all about how could I be my friend? How could I show up for myself? How could I took myself out to dinner. I went to the Korean spa, y'all. Good gracious. I have to say, having a body scrub, the deluxe Korean scrub at Sojo Club, which by the way, I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm debuting new eyebrows. I got my eyebrows microbladed and I have to get them, touched up again. Shout out to Natasha at Sanctuary. She hooked the sister up. I wish I had done this years ago, but she told me about Sojo. It's actually in New Jersey. And I went there and got a Korean scrub. And I just like, imagine being nakedy naked. You soak in a tub in your bathing suit because it's a co-ed facility, but this particular place where you soak is gender specific. And I'm sorry, before I go further, I have to say that, so this is me being me. That's what you need to do in your friendships. There is still problematic ways that we define gender for everyone. So I want to make sure that I say that. But I did end up going, you soak in your tub, with other people, and they hold up a little what do you call it, dry erase board with your number on it, and there's the sweetest Korean lady who comes in, and she basically has on like what I call a camisole and like bottoms, like it almost looks like underwear, and they get you on the table, y'all. And I've never experienced it before, but they wash your body. You're totally naked, or you can you can keep your bottoms on. They wash your body. They scrub your body. They wash your hair. They wash your face. They splash the most warm water on you. Your skin is exfoliating in ribbons. And they use this thing called, I think it's an Italy mitt, like it's a glove that they just rub against your skin. It wasn't painful for me. It was actually exhilarating. It was incredible. It was the best, absolute. And then they do a massage and a milk thing. Oh my God. It had so many steps. It was incredible. But it was the most incredible, transformative beauty experience that I had had. Like, she's all up in your area code. Okay. What did I tell my friend? I was so naked and she was so all into things. She probably knew the lunch I had last week. Okay. Like it was an intimate experience, not sexually intimate, but the fact that you're naked with a stranger. Right. But it was so caring. It was so, I have a lot to think about it, but the point is, I told you this long ass story. Get you a Korean spa scrub if you want to, though. Go to the Korean spa. They're all over the country and the world. I was a friend to myself. I didn't say who wants to go with me. And I was actually talking to a lady next to me, and she was like, yeah, my friends were supposed to come, but two of them bailed, and I'm here with myself. And I was like, I always go to these kind of things by myself. Like, I like that. And later I saw her and she was like, oh, here's my friend. And I was like, cool, hey, but the point was, I didn't feel funny about sitting and eating, food by myself, because in the Korean spa there's food. I didn't feel like it was my recharge. I want you all to think about how you can be your own friend, because if you are being your own friend, if you are, it's almost like how in reparenting, if your parents didn't give you what you need, you give yourself those things. If you are refriending yourself, what are the things you wanted a friend to do for you, to be with you? You do that for yourself. That's what I built that into my life every single week. I'm going to take myself to dinner, maybe not every week. Y'all keep the coaching clients coming, it'll be every week, okay? But like, I sign up for classes. Like, there are things that you may want. Going on a solo trip, out of the country even. Like, I've done that. Sometimes like we feel stress about our friends because we are wanting our friends to show up in ways that we need to be showing up for ourselves. And that can take a lot of pressure off the friendship, okay? Here's a big one. Here is a big one. When you talk to people about your friend breakup, they gonna have feelings. They're not gonna understand it. They're not gonna like it. Some people will understand, but I'm talking about the ones who are like, oh my God, I can't believe you and Sierra are not friends anymore. You all have been friends since second grade. People, we're all here for a reason, right? So the things that happen to people in your lives, in all your past lives, in your life are going to bring up stuff in you. So we sometimes need to give people grace, right? Like if someone is a little overbearing or judgmental about how my friend breakup happened, I need to give them some grace that they may be thinking about, what if our friendship ends? Or what if their closest friendship ends? Or whatever. So like, give people grace. It's okay to be annoyed when people are like, because, you know, that happens. Oh my God, you all were this. Like my best friend in high school is not my best friend anymore. My best friend in elementary school is not my best friend anymore. But you know what? When she needed me, and I'm not going to be specific, she called and asked me to do something. I struggled with it, but I did it anyway because I wanted to honor that relationship, honor myself, honor her. But I also gave it a ceiling. I was like, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do this, this, and this. Okay. Realize it's okay if friends drift. Maybe it's a season, maybe you'll come back together, maybe you won't. Okay. You can cry about it, you can rage about it, you can journal about it, you can talk to a therapist or, you know, a coach about it. And I want to put in this kind of caveat too. Sometimes when we see our friends breaking up or our friend group is changing, that can trigger us too. So allow yourself to feel your feelings around that. All right, here is what to do. Y'all, making friends. I know some of us are introverted. I know some of us are like, oh my God. But if you literally are hating, detesting, like you are resentful, you cannot believe at 48 you got to go make new friends, that ain't the energy to show up with. Here's a rule. Go where the excitement is. Stay where the excitement is. I walked into Burn today after not being there for probably about 2 weeks. And people were like, I mean, it was so sweet. But I was like, yeah, go where the excitement is. We're doing a relay at the end of the week. Y'all, I have a butter costume, literally a butter costume, a stick of butter costume. We are going to be the charcuteries, like we're cute and we're charcuteries. There's one person who's a cracker. There's one person who's cheese. There's one person who's olive oil. There's one person I think is who's a bottle of wine. Little costumes you get from Amazon. That's not something I would have done a year ago. They always do costumes. And I was like, I reached out to join, you know, and ask people to be on a team. That's not something I would have done a year ago either. We're now on a Facebook group. It's so fun. We talk about all things. We went on a donut date the other day. I've never been really out with ladies at the gym, except one of my trainers who I knew from high school, and we sometimes would get together and run. It was wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being a fucking stick of butter. Okay. Go where the excitement is, stay where the excitement is. And I'm going to add a third to that. And don't be scared to create a little bit of excitement. Okay. This is kind of add on to that, learn to be open to people that naturally gravitate towards you. Sometimes we are a little suspicious as human beings. What do they want from us? Maybe just to have a sweet, nice conversation. And like, I have auditioned friends, and not all of them have made the cut. I know that sounds terrible, but that's okay. But like, it's okay to be open to people who gravitate towards you and to not be suspicious. Of course, be safe, y'all. We live in a world where, we have to be safe. We see all the stories, be safe. But, you know, at the end of the day, be open to that in dating too. Okay. Also in dating, go where the excitement is too. Okay. Get outside of your comfort zone. Maybe there's a hobby you've been wanting to go back to, or you've been wanting to do. And then if someone is there after class, be like, hey, would you like to get coffee sometimes? Would you like to go for a drink if they're a drink? Would you like to have dinner before class sometimes? Would you like to? Could I add you on Facebook? Could I add you on Instagram? Y'all, let me tell you what's funny. Must have been really giving it to them in New York because the Uber guys were asking for my Instagram. Okay. All right. If the Uber guy's going to ask for your Instagram, then damn it, you could ask someone in your class for their Instagram and their Facebook. I mean, that happened with the tennis group too. We started a group email and I played tennis with a lovely lady there, right? Friendships don't have to be like we BFFs. It can just be around an event. It can be around a hobby, okay? This is a big one too. Be vulnerable and let your current friends know how much you love them, how much they mean to you. So my friend I stay with in New York, I love him so much. And he is so good at telling me why he loves me. And I literally had a little tear in my voice. And I said, DeWitt, I love you too. I love how you always reflect love back to me. And I was like, that's something I want to do more of. And so there were a couple of times because I sometimes demonstrate my love, like getting you your favorite meal or doing all that. But I know I need to say the words too, because words, of course, matter to me. And so I did that. I just texted him and I was like, New York was great. I just love you, like let your current friends stoke up the love. Let everybody feel the love. Step into the love, okay? You heard me earlier. Get your calendar out, roll through your list of homies, and schedule friend dates. Now, guys, be okay if this is one of the things my friends love about me. If we schedule a friend date and they need to change it, I'm like, cool. Like, be flexible. Friendship, there's a effing friendship, there's a effing flexible, and there's a effing fucker. Don't be a fucker, be flexible. I need to put that on a bumper sticker. Don't be a fucker, be flexible. Like, even if you're disappointed, be willing. I tell my friends this all the time. If I really want to go, I will go by myself. So if there's this wonderful art exhibit and I asked, Kara to go with me and Kara don't go with me, I can go with me. Okay. So like, be flexible. It's okay to feel disappointment, but nobody wants to feel like a shitbag because they had to change their plans. You get a lot more when you're flexible with people. Now, if it's someone who keeps counseling on you, you might need a friend breakup. Or you might just need to be direct and be like, I noticed you've canceled a lot. Can you tell me what's going on? And they may just be like, I'm so busy. Like, I love you so much. I'm so busy. Like, until December, can we do something in February? Be flexible, not a fucker. Okay. I already said it. Learn to go it alone more. Learn to enjoy it. I remember when I taught myself how to eat out with myself at Chili's in my 20s. I taught myself how to go out and eat and not feel bad for the people who came out and ate by themselves. I taught myself how to go to the movies. There is nowhere I won't go by myself now. As a matter of fact, my friend DeWitt was like, I love it when you come into town because you be gone, you be doing your thing. I'll ask you what your day looks like. You have an agenda. I don't have to worry about you, but then we still schedule our us time. Okay. So yeah, learn how to go it alone more. And this is the last one. Remember, you could be isolating yourself and not the other way around. Like we project. It could be that you are the one You are the one who's pulling back from everyone. And that's okay. Sometimes we have those periods, right? Where we pull back, we need to hear our own voice. We don't want all the feedback. But just like you isolated yourself, you can roll right back on your friend group and be like, look, I know I was under a rock. I was hiding. I was working through this. But look, when can we get together? When can we do this? When can we? Or even when you feel yourself beginning to pull back, you can let them know, hey, I'm pulling back for a while. It's nothing personal. I love you. I will be back in touch. Like, feel free to Facebook me, feel free to text me, but please don't take it personal if I don't, reach out as quickly as I used to. I just need a moment. Okay. So I think I'm going to have to do an episode dedicated just to how to make friends, because people are like, why is it so hard to make new friends? Well, perspective is everything, right? So if I think it's hard to do it, then it's hard to do it, right? And if I go back into my history of how it hasn't worked, this is with dating too, then I will feel like, oh, it's hard. But if you keep doing something that is hard, except fucking push-ups, if you keep doing something that's hard, push-ups included, actually, it will get easier. It will get easier. Okay? Friend breakups do not have to be the end of the world. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucks. But I guarantee, unless it's a blind side, there were already some things that were hurting and sucking in that relationship. And if it's a blind side and the person doesn't feel like they can talk to you or be honest about what's going on, it probably isn't a friendship where safety is prioritized, and it may be better that it's breaking up too. Leave you with this: the things that bother you today probably ain't gonna bother you in 10 years, 10 weeks, 10 months. So just remember, if you are feeling pain around a friend breakup, that too will pass, okay? Hey, just remember, you can always roll up on me. Go to my website, kimarrington.com. It's always in the show notes. If you want to get on my wait list for one-on-one coaching, if you want to get on my weight loss, learn more about that program, you're going to go to kimarrington.com/weight loss. And you can always reach out to me on the socials. My DMs are always open. Okay. All right. Mwah. Love y'all. Have a great one.
Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to kimarrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.